See, the things we do for love, well, you know by now that I love a good crime thriller. I also love books set in Manchester. So Robert Parker's got 2 ticks before he starts from me. He's a Manchester author. His debut is called A Wanted Man. It's all about Ben Bracken, an ex-soldier who gets mixed up with the wrong people and ends up in strange ways. And as Robert told me, he's been fascinated by people who've served in the forces for some time.
Firstly, I wanted to ask, or try to answer, the question of what do you do when you come back from giving everything for your country and you are no longer needed? I've come across a number of people who have tried to answer this same question themselves with varying degrees of success, and Ben Bracken is really an amalgamation of all those different ways of dealing with it. I find it amazing that people go away, give everything they can in the service of this country and the protection of ourselves, and they come back, and certainly if you've gone away for a great deal of time, this place can be quite a bit different than when you left in the first place.
And so you can be different.
Absolutely,
as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, because certainly Ben Bracken is in his early 30s, funnily enough, similar age to myself, there's no mystery there, but really I grew up between the ages of 20 and 30, and I think if you've spent that time in exceedingly high pressure situations, it will mould a man, mould anybody. And to come back and suddenly, what if you've got a skill set that you've been trained in and it's all you've known for a decade, and you come back, how do you apply that to daily life? How do you know that? If all you know is weapons, tactics, demolition, and you come back and you're trying to, say, fit back in Manchester, and you've got to start from the very bottom, how on earth do you go about doing that?
So he's an ex-soldier,
yes,
is Ben, and he's just got out of strange ways.
He has, yeah. Not by the front door, as my publishers like saying. Yeah. I think, again, what happens as well if you come back and you're not finished? What if your sense of duty is that strong and you're not done yet, but your sense of disillusionment for the reasons you are there and the people that put you there, you'd want to do something about it.
So how much can you tell me about Ben and what he's gone through and why he ends up in strange ways?
Poor decision making. He was framed. He decided that he's going to go down to the big smoke, went down to London, got himself in trouble, bit off more than he can chew, ends up back in strange ways here, decides I've had enough of that.
It's all very mysterious, this is.
It is, yeah, it is all quite mysterious. But I think the main themes that I want to look at are disillusionment, duty, responsibility. Fatherhood is another one that is not something that I could have written about until the last 6 or 7 years, but it's certainly something that's very close to my heart, and I think that if you have that anchor taken away from you, who is guiding you? So fatherhood is something that's very important to me.
So, because you're a father yourself?
I am, yes. I have two daughters and a little boy on the way as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh,
yeah.
That's a big family, isn't it?
Yeah, very happy man.
So, yeah, you've got this big family, and here you are making your living as a writer.
Yes, yeah, not the plan, but it's...
How did it happen?
It was really down to, I have arthritis in both knees, and that gave me 18 months of respite where I had nothing else to do with my time, and my brain was turning to absolute mush. And I sat and wrote a book just to occupy the time. It took me 8 weeks to write this first manuscript, and I loved it. I've always written, started, as a lot of people say, started writing at 6 or so. I would say that was mainly in the poor grammar dinosaur fiction genre at the time. And then I got into doing my English A-levels. I was getting bogged down in description. My teacher at the time said, why don't you try script writing? Because it's a very economical style and it will straighten out all this boggy fluff that you're getting involved with. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we trimmed all that and it developed this sort of quite economical style. So my drawers at home are just full of these garbage screenplays for films that will all feature Jean-Claude Van Damme back when I was 16, 17, 18. And that was actually when I first wrote this story.
Yeah.
But it didn't have Ben Bracken in it. And it was a screenplay about a criminal family in Manchester, but there was something missing and I just didn't know what it was. And then I had this time to convalesce and wrote this book and dropped this soldier into it, almost like parachuting out of the blue, and suddenly it just exploded and it wrote itself, essentially.
More from Manchester author Robert Parker after Paul Simon.
The mama pajama roll.
Paul Simon, me and Julio down by the old schoolyard, and Amy has tweeted saying, I love the book A Wanted Man. That's what we're talking about this afternoon. And she said, I've told all my colleagues to keep their voices down for his interview. Can't wait to hear him. Well, you've heard one bit of him, and he is Robert Parker, the Manchester author. And the book is all about Ben Bracken. It's Robert's first book. Ben is an ex-soldier. He gets mixed up with the wrong people, and it tells the story of Ben's mission to get revenge on the man who framed him. And there's also an entanglement with an infamous Manchester gang. It's a story that Robert first wrote when he was a teenager, and he's rewritten it many, many times since. And he worked incredibly hard to get it published, despite getting some attention after releasing it online.
I immediately, as soon as it was done, I thought, the end, brilliant, Amazon Kindle published, bang. And then it was straight out and people were buying it straight away. And I thought, this is incredible. I can't believe that I can connect to a readership straight away like that. And it was that easy. Didn't mean to say it was any good, but people saw something in it that they quite liked. So I quickly did a second one, and before long it was suggested to me, why don't you see if you can get some representation for this? So I approached about 250 literary agents around the world.
250?
Yeah, I really cast the net really wide, and I cannot tell you the range of responses I got to that. Some were really positive but didn't want to take any gamble on a young name or anything like that. Bear in mind at the time I was just 29, I think 30. There were some very, very rude responses as well, which, you know, rejection is a part of this deal, but I ended up loving the rude ones. It only made me want to get better and improve. And then it was actually, I had a wonderful response from a lady based in New York called Linda Langton, who's actually Mancunian herself. Amazing Mancunian connection again. Her father was Lord Mayor of Manchester, and she's been down to, went down and started a fantastic publishing business down in the Southern Hemisphere. Went to New York, started a literary agency, and she gave me a chance because I was Mancunian.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
That's the one, yeah. So we have this fantastic relationship. She has helped me rewrite the book. It's actually the 46th version of it that's published.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's taken me 3 years to get there. I've written 5 other books in that time as well, just to tick over. I'm absolutely bursting, and I'm so excited that it's out
I
now.
know, I bet
it's
you
amazing.
are.
Yeah, really excited.
And you've done all kinds of different jobs, haven't you, leading up to this?
I have, yeah. I think there's all sorts. I'm just a very, very happy guy and want to try everything and enjoy life very, very much. So I've been a warehouse picker at a pharmaceutical company. I've been a van driver, a white van driver, just doing an odd job stuff. I've worked delivering medications at old people's homes and care facilities. I've been a county court gun for hire. I've got a law degree, so I've been in court fighting for various parties, and I've enjoyed all of them. But it's I love that it's given me a fairly broad, varied look at life, and I like interacting with people. I really do.
And what kind of response have you had to A Wanted Man?
Really positive. I'm completely humbled by it because I only ever set out to write a book to entertain people. That was all. I never ever wanted to change the literary landscape or anything like that. I'm very realistic about what I bring to the table. And if you're reading my book by a swimming pool, that's great. If you're reading it on the train, that's great. But if you're enjoying it, you have made my day. So
it's not in physical form, though, the book?
No, what happened was people didn't really want to take a gamble on someone who didn't have a bankable name yet. But it's only taken us a couple of weeks, and the talk is paperback already.
Oh,
so
good.
It's
good for me, that. Because I like to hold the book.
I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, please can we get this sorted out? So every time that happens, I get on the phone to the publisher and say, can we just talk about this now? And the conversations have been had, and
So what happens next then? What about your next book?
Well, I've written 3 more Ben Bracken books.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about where they're up to, but they are ready.
Are you just writing all the time?
All the time. 2,000 words a day.
Really?
Always.
With 2 and nearly 3 children?
Yeah. We'll see how long that lasts, but yeah.
Well, it's great to see you. It really is, Robert.
Thank you.
Good luck with A Wanted Man. And the minute it's out in paperback, please, could I have a copy of it?
I will do. Thank you so much for your time.
Look forward to reading that, as does Dave in Withenshaw. He said, sounds like a good read, that, Becky. It does sound like a good read. That's just about it from me for today. I'm sorry, actually, that